So hello everyone. Finally, formally, I'm starting this October clarification session related to PMI ACP. The objective of this session is to give you details about what is PMI ACP, how one should proceed with the certification program. But before we get into the details, we also talk about who should possibly do PMI ACP, what is the branding message, what kind of advantage we can get, and then probably looking into what is the content. Yeah, what is the content, how to prepare, and how we should go about the application part of it, which is pretty simple though, but still it's a PMI product. We need to take care of all these points. Now, I don't use any slides. I directly go to PMI website to explain you these things. And towards the end, we will also explain how our program can help you in getting ready for PMI ACP. So first, I'm just talking about what PMI is talking about PMI ACP, and then I get into the details of how we can assist you to get PMI ACP certified if that is something you are looking for, if it's something matters for your career progression. Now, PMI ACP is not a new certificate. It came in 2012, yeah, and it got relaunched in 2024. PMI expected a lot of traction when it got launched in 2012, but it was not that much successful. Let's be very honest about it. But what I observed, the individuals who did PMI ACP during the stages of 2012 till 2020, they did well because they got into agile coaching, agile consulting kind of roles because of their foundational understanding of agile. Though the brand name was not that much visible in the profiles, but the value was coming because of the knowledge they gained as a process of getting PMI ACP certification. Now, many of you might be thinking, should I really do it? So it depends. That's the whole thing. I would say that around maybe you have the maximum number of people are PMP certified. That's there. And PMI ACP, if I talk about India, maybe we have around 5,000 people PMI ACP certified, like that kind of number. Who are the people who are doing PMI ACP in our recent observation, who are enrolling to our program? We are doing another program next week. These individuals want to position themselves as an agile practitioner in a project environment, not in a product environment. When you go for pure Scrum, when you go for pure scaled agile framework, they are very applicable when your organization uses using Scrum, where your organization is using Safe. But if you are working for clients, you use something A this time, next project you may use something B. Yeah. And even if you are using Scrum in a project and client and provider environment, that's very customized Scrum. It is not something which you comes out of Scrum guide. So when individuals, especially in countries like India, where they are working in a lot of service organizations, they need to establish their credibility of showing that I can work in a hybrid environment. Yeah. Again, you can definitely study and work in the hybrid environment. Your experience teaches you to work in the hybrid environment, but PMI ACP validates your understanding to work in the hybrid environment. So you can say, how do I use agile in a project context is explained in a PMI ACP. Now, in order to achieve that goal, they focus on teaching you Scrum, Kanban, system thinking, leadership ideas, project management terms also like risk management, issue handlings, various roles, various compliances, matrices, those kind of content get added so that you can work as a agile coach, agile consultant, or a project manager in the environment where people or your organization using agile. The another type of people who are doing PMI ACP is the agile certificates, be it Scrum, Safe, and all. They are pretty uh, low benchmark certificate. Anyone can do a 2 days program and then they get certified. So they wanted to have some validation oriented certificate, which really has a rigor. You prepare, you go for proctored exam rather than just giving exam from the browser based content. They also want to do PMI ACP to show their credibility in agile ways of working. So these are the two types of people who usually do PMI ACP. If you have a specific query which can help you in understanding, should I do PMI ACP? I can answer that. You can put it into the chat, but this is something which I observed based on our customers and the participants who are talking to us in various sessions. If this is clear, then I talk about how to do it. Yeah. First, you should be clear about why to do it. Then you want to focus on how to do it. Yeah. So if why is clear, we can move forward. Okay, I'm assuming it's clear. Just feel free to put a chat or speak after unmuting yourself. Both way it will work. Path for certification. Yeah. So say any PMI program, they have an application process, they have an eligibility process, and then you get ready for giving the exam. So same like PMP, if you are aware of, the PMI ACP also has that process, but it's a little lightweight. The rigor is less because they are targeting wide audience. They are not only targeting project managers. That's a separate thing. I usually see project managers doing the most. I see after PMP certification, PMI ACP is done more often rather than people doing it directly. But that's the way PMI wanted to project it, that people can do it directly as well. So they have an eligibility requirement, which is pretty simple. And you can say that eligibility requirement related to here is something that if someone has a bachelor degree, a secondary degree, or even secondary degree, not needed for a bachelor degree, yeah, then also or a secondary degree education, some education, secondary diploma or graduation. After that, you just need to demonstrate 2 years of experience in Agile in the last 5 years. So in the application, you need to fill that information. But if you are PMP certified, you don't have to fill that also. Yeah, that's the thing. Agile experience could be Agile developer, tester, or working as a project manager in Agile environment, Scrum Master in Agile environment, all will work. Yeah, so you need to demonstrate that. And then you need to acquire something called 28 contact hours. Yeah. So it is something that the idea of understanding agile ways of working with the help of PMI's content. Now, PMI has their own authorized training provider who provides this 28 contact hours program using PMI material. We are one of them. And our recommendation is you go through that content because other people who might be providing the PMI ACP program, but you need to validate yourself, the quality and the depth of that program, because it's your judgment. You are not going with the PMI judgment, then you need to take your own judgment. Yeah. So if you want to do a 28 contact hours, I prefer you go for authorized training provider, but you can take your call. And if you want to work with us, we do have a 28 contact hours program. So in a simple word, if I want to get PMI ACP certified, I need three things. I need to be graduate or diploma, first thing. I need to demonstrate 2 years of agile experience. This can also be reduced to 1 year if I have done some third party certification like Scrum Master certificate, Safe Scrum Master certificate, then it can reduce to 1 year. I should have that valid certificate and the age of the certificate should be more than 1 year. Then it get reduced to 1 year, which is a very small thing. And the third thing is you need to acquire 28 contact hours, preferably by the PMI authorized training provider. So these are the three requirements which makes you ready for PMI ACP certification. That's it. Yeah. If you are a PMP certified, you don't even have to explain your experience, you directly jump to the 28 contact hours. As soon as you finish your 28 contact hours, you can fill your application and it will get processed and you are ready to give the exam. Yeah. So this is the eligibility requirement and the process. If this is done, then I get into exam content outline. And then fourth thing, I explain how to prepare. Yeah. And then probably take care of some of your questions. Okay. What is covered in the exam? This is something called exam content outline. Yeah, so I see some question coming. So I have registered for upcoming program. That's great. I'm PMP certified. So I only need a 28 contact hours. So in case of you, as soon as we finish the class, you can submit the application that day only. Yeah, because it's very simple for you. As you initiate your PMI ACP application, your education will get automatically populated because you are PMP certified. You don't have to demonstrate any experience because you are PMP certified. It should be valid PMP certification. That's the only thing. And the contact hours will also get automatically populated because you are working with this. Actually, you don't have to type anything. Yeah, you just need to click, 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 and your application is done. Yeah. And you can do it in our last class, yeah, along with me. Good. So I move forward then. Yeah. If anything else, anyone? Okay. So what is covered? Exam content outline. So you can click on this link. I am sharing this URL with you. It's a PMI URL. So it's not something I am showing it to you. When you click on it, you will see a PMI exam content outline, PMI ACP's exam content outline. So what PMI does for each certification, they do their research, and based on the research, they prepare, oh, these are the things one is expected to do if they are doing this certification. That's the idea of PMI ACP certification as well. Now, this content outline is grouped into 4 groups. They call it domain. When I talk to many agile coaches, agile consultant, I teach scaled agile framework. I have been teaching it from 2014. Yeah, so it's around 10 years I'm teaching SAFe. I have been teaching agile coaching more or less for the similar duration. And I also work with many other coaches, try to understand their feedback. When I showed this exam content outline to them, they thought it's too much content. Yeah, but that's the value. If we can digest this content, then we are at a level in the agile ways of working. Yeah. The whole thing is digesting and really making use of it. And with our program, we try to give you enough material, enough examples, and supporting material beyond the class. Take it as a value add so that I want to establish myself as a project manager, consultant, coach in the agile ways of working. And that's why you will see this content is little heavy. So it has a 4 domains. They call it mindset, leadership, product, and delivery. And this domain will have a composition in the exam, which is also declared. Yeah, so mindset 28, leadership 25, product 19, and the delivery is 28 again. Yeah, that's how it is. Now, mindset and leadership has a pretty much duplication. Now, mindset basically focuses on how do we understand agile as an essence. Yeah, it is just not about set of meetings and set of artifacts. Do I really understand what is the value of agile in a real context, in a practical context? How each principle will get implemented in a different environment. Yeah, how a behavior aligns to agile behavior. The 12 principles of agile actually can teach you everything about agile. Provided I understand, I may pick up at 20 behaviors and I should be able to see which behavior is as per agile thinking. Yeah, I don't have to worry about Scrum. I don't have to worry about Kanban. I just can say, is it focusing on learning? Is it focusing on early adoption? Is it focusing on self-organizing team? Is it focusing on empowerment? If I get that idea, I know these are the agile behaviors. And if I get that, I'm done with agile mindset. That's it. I should have a clarity about understanding how agile thinking should work. I should have an understanding of exploring when should I use agile. I apply Canevin framework, Stacy matrix, agile suitability filters to understand where agile is suitable and where we probably want to go for predictive lifecycle. And that is the uniqueness. When I teach, say, for example, Scrum or SAFe, we will just talk about this. This is great. When we are learning PMI-ACP, we are saying nothing is great. It depends upon the context. So we should see in which context the agile or adaptive kind of process is good, where we need to do customization. So that's the second topic. We develop an agile mindset. We focus on creating collaborative environment that will be pretty much mapped to the leadership topic as well. We are starting with the mindset, but leadership is talking about the mindset is talking about value of collaboration. Leadership focuses on creating collaboration. So when you start preparing, pretty much interconnected. Yeah. Initially, it looks heavy, but once you get it, they start getting connected well. Similarly, transparency. Transparency we learn as a value, but we also learn as a delivery. When we talk about delivery, we talk about continuous transparency, matrices, retrospectives, and all those things. Ultimately, it's the same thing. So we learn what is the value of transparency. Psychological safety, very relevant for mindset, leadership, both. Yeah, because I need to create an environment of psychological safety. We talk about various levels of psychological safety, contribution safety, challenging safety. So those kind of levels, and I need to start thinking as a mindset as well as the leadership guy who is promoting the psychological safety. Similarly, for a feedback loop is everywhere. Delivery also a feedback loop. When I'm taking sprints, iterations, and reviews, it's also a feedback loop. When I'm running MVP, it is also a feedback loops. So the point I'm trying to make is it has many tasks, but they are pretty much interconnected. The first section, if I get a mindset well, leadership goes well. And that is true for some of you who are attending our class. Initially, you may say, oh, it's too much content. I'm getting so much information. But by the time we finish 40-50% of the class, you will see now it is getting little repeated. Yeah. So it will get connected and repeated. But yes, content is heavy. Yeah. Whoever is coming to my class, 28 hours will go like this. Yeah. And then you have a lot of other material to support your learning. But content is heavy. And that's the value, I guess. Yeah. That's why we are doing this particular program. Leadership, empowering, facilitating, promoting knowledge sharing, creating the right environment so that people can perform and grow, focusing on creating the alignment, shared purpose, vision, usual thing, and then conflict management. Conflict management, PMI's favorite topic. You go as a scrum master, you go as a project manager. Whenever you go for interview, people ask you about conflict management. So we'll talk about conflict management as well. Then we have a product. Personally, I feel the PMI ACP is little, from an ECO perspective, is little weak in a product, but we have added more content for the product in our content. Yeah, it's little less organized here, but yes, it's there. So if you have done CSPO kind of program, then it's a product. Now somebody will say, oh, product domain is for product owner. Why, if I work as a scrum master or a project manager, I need to study product? So we are learning as a mix role. And when you work in IT service companies, good amount of facilitation you need to do in order to discover the requirement. You may not be a decision maker, but you might be assistant. They may call you project manager, they may call you scrum master, but I need to understand how requirement exploration work, how prioritization work, and probably I will be assisting my client to do it. Client will be a real product owner, but I will be doing a lot of things for him. So that's why the idea of PMI ACP is you need to develop competency there as well. You can't say it's not a scrum master job, it's not a project manager job. Probably it is your job, probably in when you are working in your client environment. So we learn about product backlog, MVP, MBIs, how do we visualize it, how do we prioritize it, user stories, epics, features, story mapping, user persona, empathy mapping, those kind of tools. Yeah, if you are already done product owner related certification, you are familiar with it. If not, that's the value. You get all that information in this particular class. Delivery, if you're working as a Scrum Master project manager, it's a familiar topic for you. Basically, stress is on lean and matrices. So it focuses on various type of agile matrices, focusing on removing impediment, eliminating waste, process flow optimization. So measuring the flow and optimizing the flow and continuously engaging the right stakeholders to optimize the flow. That's the idea of delivery. So all the matrices, yeah, popular agile matrices will get taught here. And the ideas of value stream mapping, the idea related to continuous improvement, facilitating various way of doing retrospective, facilitating various agile meetings will get covered in the final delivery domain. Now, this all, if I understand well, that is something helps me in building the competency, which makes my exam easy. But if I try to rush for it, the failure rate for PMI ACP is pretty high, pretty high. And the major reason is people who have done PMP certification, they believe I will go for PMI ACP since I have already studied Agile. So say in a PMP certification, you have studied something called user story. But in a PMI ACP, you need to understand which one of three is a better user story. Yeah. How do you add acceptance criteria to a user story? How do you split a big story into small story? Now, those questions will not come in PMP. PMP is that if you understand user story as a term, you are good because the PMP covers a lot of other topics also. Whereas here, it goes little deep, not too deep. In a real interview, I believe you need to go far, far deeper than what you learn in PMI ACP. And that's why we give you more content than just the exam because real interview and real working is more deep. Yeah. So get ready for that. You are getting ready for interviews and jobs, not just for the certificate. And I see this is a good tool to move forward towards it. Yeah. So we need to get little detail, else we won't be able to make success in the exam. We do, when I talk about our program, we do have a critical checks to make sure that you are getting ready for the exam with the help of feedback using mock test. You have too many mock tests and none of them should be skipped and you need to take a feedback. I will just talk about it in a while. Yeah. So any question on exam content outline before I talk about how do we support your PMI ACP preparation? So till now, whatever I have told you is a generic. It is nothing to do with our program in particular. I was using some examples from our program. But now I am getting into specifics. Good. Yeah, move forward then. Okay. Now, how do we prepare? So when you enroll to PMI authorized education provider, yeah, they call it authorized training provider, you are expected to get PMI material for preparation. That's the one source. You get it from any ATP. And on top of it, we have our additional material. Yeah? So we will talk about both. What material you get from PMI directly, actually that material covers the exam passing related topics. Yeah? So they have something called digital workbooks. So they will give you a leadership workbook. Let's start from mindset. So they give you a mindset workbook. It's pretty long, 247 pages, but it goes fast. You don't have to worry about each and every page, but it is not just the output of slides. Many a time you might have seen PMI material is just PDF copy of the slides, but this is not the case for PMI ACP. They have spent good time preparing the content which can really augment the learning. If you follow PMI content, you don't need any other book. Yeah, so this is something we will get as a material PDF file. The subset of it in the format of slide I will cover in the live class. Yeah, so PMI tells ATP must teach the live class covering all these topics, and the learner can go back and read more about these topics. So this is a one topic first. Yeah. Similarly, we have a leadership workbook around 160 pages again, and which takes care of your second domain, and you look into the other content. Then you have a product workbook, less lengthy, 123 pages. You have those content. Then you have a delivery workbook, yeah, 200 pages. So overall, you may have 800 pages plus. But please don't worry about the length of the document. It starts going fast after we cover the first one. So once you have covered the mindset, other things will become far, far easy because pretty much connected topics. So this thing will come from PMI through us. Yeah. So when you enroll with us, we will give you a enrollment key. With that, you will have to log into PMI org, and then you can download it after enrolling to your program. And that's how they will also track your 28 contact hours completion. So this is first resource, which is also get taught in the live interaction. Yeah. So you have a 28 hours of live class founded on the PMI material. Now, on top of that, uniqueness from our side, we provide you learning content. So say PMI material is pretty much focused on exam content outline only. They focus on mindset, leadership like this only. Some people who have not studied Scrum as a Scrum or Kanban as a Kanban, they may struggle with the PMI material if they go directly. Now, if you have done Scrum Master program or Advanced Scrum Master program, then you don't have to look into it. But if not, we have a videos which just explains you Scrum, pure Scrum. Yeah. So you get a learning content where you can learn Scrum. So you start connecting to the Scrum. Similarly, you can get a learning content where you just connect to the Kanban. Yeah. You get a pure idea of how Kanban works without getting into exam content outline, task, and other things. So these two programs usually becomes a foundational programs for those individuals who are not having very extensive agile experience. But if you have a good agile experience, you have been using Kanban, value stream mapping, work in progress, Kanban boards, and other stuff, you can skip it. You can just, how do I know I can skip it? You will get it in the live class. When I'm taking the topics looking familiar, then you can skip watching these video. These all are video content. On top of that, we have a special video content to augment the PMI learning. First is the Agile Practice Guide. We have a videos covering the whole Agile Practice Guide. Yeah, PMI Agile Practice Guide. So we have video about that. We have a generic video about Agile. We have a specific content designed for requirement management. Yeah, self-paced content. You can watch it before the class or after the class. It also has a reading material which talks about how do you do a product development in Agile, and a case study which can be used for interview preparations as well. So these kind of critical topics which seems to be not logically explained well in the live class are available here. For example, estimation. Now we take story point estimation in the class also, but sometimes you are not even clear about estimation. You have a lot of doubt about story point versus hours and all. So we have a specific 4 videos which talks about from basics of estimation till story point versus hours. Yeah. So this all content is useful for interview preparation and really building your agile skills. If you're only focusing on exam, the PMI material and live class is good enough. Yeah, that is something should be good enough. How do I know it is good enough? That's a checking point. Now we also have added PMBOK videos, but usually they are not needed. Sometimes people want to watch it. That's an optional thing. They can watch it, else they can ignore. Then the critical element is assessments. And these assessments are not only made to make you pass the exam, it is also made you to really prepare for your interviews and agile mindset. So for each domain, we have 70 questions. For delivery, we have 50. So there is a 70 question set for each domain. So we make sure that you look into these questions first. Yeah. Make sure I'm doing good in a first domain before I go to second domain. Once I have done this domain-wise test, then we have a full length test. We have these full length tests, which will go till test number 5. The test number 5 is matching with the public video series which we have put for everyone. Yeah, the other 4 are not. Yeah, so 5 test is a public test also, but you can take it in here as well. So these 5 tests at least makes you ready for the exam. And we also tell, don't go for exam till the time you start scoring 80%. You must score 80% first attempt. Yeah, so it's like that, you might do the first exam and you are not scoring 80%, you don't have to move forward. You need to fix that problem. And once you feel confident and you are ready for the second mock and you feel, I can score the 80% this time, then only you go for the second mock. This week, we have a person passing the exam. We also have a cases where people don't listen to our advice. They are scoring 60% here. They go for the exam, they fail in the exam. Yeah. Because PMI exam, especially for PMI ACP, so say there could be some questions in the exam where they may not make sense. Yeah. Say 4, 5, 10 questions. They might be testing question or they might be something else. Now PMI will say, we will judge people based on what they select. But if I just argue from agile mindset, nothing looks logical there. Yeah. So those kind of things could be there. We are not sure what are you answering there. But there are other 90% questions which are clear. Yeah. So we can consider 10% questions anyway, we will not be able to make very clearly, but in the 90% set, I should be scoring 90% right. So that's the reason we give a target of 80%, because for our case, there is no confusion. All questions are logical question. If your logic is right, question will get right. Yeah. It is not about using vague terminology and not even getting the clue about what is the question all about. So those kind of questions are not there. But we have a lot of diagrammatic questions which comes in the exam, like you see a burn down chart and you need to interpret based on it. We have a matrix oriented questions. We have a situation oriented questions, which makes you pretty ready for your exam. That's what we get from the feedback. This week also we got one person certified. He took just the self-paced program. He was not a part of the live class. But again, yeah, that is also we sell separately. People who have done live class separately, they can just enroll to our material. Yeah, so this is our material which you get if you enroll, and usually this material is also good enough to pass the exam. How do I know? Because I need to take a practice test, and if I'm not scoring 70% plus in the 80% plus in my domain test, I know what need to be filled. And then you can connect with me if you're not getting an idea what should I study, where should I study. We will help you, but usually our study material is good enough to give you that foundation, and then you can pass the exam. So this all is from my side, yeah, to talk about how can we support your exam preparation. But if you have any specific query, we can talk. Here is a question, little long, so let me read it. So how do I know if I'm ready to take the exam? I am a PMI certified. My application was approved, pending payment, scheduling exam. I have watched your 150 question videos and I have took the 120 question PMI test. I got 83% of it. I also took the mini practice test and YouTube videos prior to this. So I'm familiar with the questions. Yeah, 99 purchased one, the PMI site. Okay. Difficult question. I can't predict that. Yeah. But if you got our 150 questions and you got 90% questions right, 90%, I'm not talking about 80%. And in a PMI material also, you got around 85 to 90% right in a first attempt, then you can say I'm ready. Yeah. But the problem is the PMI material has a very limited number of questions. Yeah. Even if you go for their paid $99 program, you don't get much out of it. And those questions are also, some of them are not that great quality as well. That is what I have been listening from people. So you are taking your chance. Yeah, but you are at a good place. If you are scoring more than 80% in our mock, you should have scored around 90 though, but okay, yeah, that's something you can say. If I'm 80 plus, the probability is good. Yeah, the probability is good. It all depends what kind of mistakes you are making. Yeah, so if you are very clear that mistakes were made because of these things, and I am very clear about this concept, then probability is high. In order to really give a predictable judgment about am I ready, we need to have at least 3 tests. Yeah, just based on one test, it is relatively difficult. Yeah, because if I get some gaps, I want to prepare and then I want to do for second time as well. So yeah, that's what I can say it. So I think you have two. One is our ones, free one, and another one PMI one, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So you need to get PMI one minimum 80%. That is something we can say. If you are not getting it, try to fix that problem. The $99 one, it's I think one exam only there also, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Last time when I checked, it was one.
Hi, Saket. Thanks a lot for your time. Actually, this is quite helpful to understand the overall, basically, the PMI ACP briefing, basically, I can say about the certification and all.
Yeah, yeah.
And I strongly believe like the upcoming session will be quite helpful
Sure.
because today only I registered for
I
this
know, I know, I know,
upcoming.
David.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Great, great, great.
And earlier I also attended CSM certification training, basically, so that was quite helpful to learn
Great.
a lot of new skills. Yeah, I'm hoping for the best for
Yeah.
the
So if you
coming.
get an access to our compass, you can start playing with the video content. Yeah, that's something you can do. You still have 1 week.
Yeah, I got the email today
Yeah,
only,
yeah, yeah.
so I'll
So
start looking on them from tomorrow.
perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
thanks a lot, Zak.
Perfect,
Thank you.
perfect. Yeah. So the question is coming, what mock material do you recommend? I recommend my material. Obviously, that's there. And
Yeah,
actually,
definitely.
no, no, that there was another question in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I recommend my material. But see, as much research I have done and observed people talking on social media, I don't see anyone having this much database for exam, and the quality is also not at par with us. So I am not aware if there is any other provider who has that much content. But we have our mock test and the whole folder which I showed to you, the whole folder, which includes the learning material, video content, and the full length mock test and the domain wise tests. Yeah, this whole folder comes in a $150 only. If you don't want to take our live class, so there are two options: live class plus this folder. Anyone taking the live class, this folder is automatically comes to them. But if someone wants to just take this, it's a $150. Yeah, for 6 months access, and that is more than enough to prepare for your exam. Anything else, anyone? I see some questions coming in. So after completion of ACP, does PMI offers other courses to further specialization agile, or there is other courses like becoming an agile coach, training provider, training material and all? From a PMI perspective, PMI ACP is the only agile program they have, pure agile program. But anyone can teach PMI ACP. Yeah. So if you believe you are doing good, you can definitely start teaching PMI ACP after doing PMI ACP. But for that, you need to work with some authorized training provider. If you collaborate with ATP, you can do it. Yeah. They don't have a designation called Agile Coach program. I see Agile has it. We also sell that. But you do get far knowledge than any other labeled Agile Coach program. Yeah. So that way you can see. So it definitely help you to get it. Yeah. So the another question is where we can get this information. So let me share that link. It's our Bridge website where you can navigate and see the details. I need to show it here in the project management, and where is PMI ACP? Okay, second number. I will put the link also in the chat. Yeah. Okay, and my team can be contacted if you have any follow-up query related to the package or related to enrollment, something. Yeah, if you want to have something customized, for example, I want to have some my application is accepted, but I want to do something other than just only the self-paced program, we can figure it out. But by default, we have two packages. One is just a self-paced content, which doesn't have a contact hours because we can't do that. We have to focus on contact hours in live class only as an ATP. But self-paced is good enough to fix the gap, just $150. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for your participation. Let me close the session now.